Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The webinar is about to begin. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon from Bogor, West Java, Indonesia. So I would like to welcome you to our What Zakat Forum webinar series, and thank you for finding time and visit our YouTube channel, BAZNAS TV. My name is Abdul Aziz Saoqi, and currently I am a senior researcher at BAZNAS Center of Strategic Studies. And today, inshallah, I will become your host in this event with very interesting topic, the Islamic social finance and its role in the economic recession. Okay, dear brother and sister, ladies and gentlemen, today we are very lucky because we have two prominent speakers from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and from the Republic of Indonesia. The first speaker is Dr. Omar Hafiz from Saudi Arabia. Presently, he is serving as the president of the International Associations of Islamic Economies in Saudi Arabia. And Assalamualaikum, Dr. Hafiz Umar. How are you, Dr. Umar?
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, fine. Thank you, Brother Abdul Aziz.
Thank you for joining with us, Dr. Umar, in this very good afternoon in Indonesia, maybe noon in Saudi Arabia, right? So, thank you once again. So, we move to he is one of the prominent economists with strong background in regulatory economics, Dr. Dadang Muljawan. Presently, he is designated as a Vice Rector of the International Islamic University of Indonesia. And without further ado, let's say hi. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Dadang. How are you, Dr. Dadang?
Waalaikumsalam.
I hope you and your family are in well condition, Doctor. Thank you once again for your ability to joining with us in this very remarkable event. So, ladies and gentlemen, but before we go further to hear a very interesting topic, firstly, we need to make some important announcements to the participants. We inform you that BAZNAS, along with the Ministry of Religion Affairs and Airlangga University and also Trisakti University, will conduct a prestigious online event, namely the 4th International Conference of Zakat, which will be held in this October, inshallah. So, the audience, we invite you to submit your best Zakat article and attend by online the plenary session in the 4th icons. So, dear brothers and sisters, before we begin the discussion, let me explain to you first on how you can speak with us during this discussion. If you have any question pertaining the topic during the discussion, you just type the questions in the chat column and we will bring selected questions or queries to the discussions. So let's start the webinar. Dear brother and sister, as we know, currently every country are facing difficult times due to the economic downturn, which is caused by the spreading of COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, every government in every country has taken several important actions by implementing certain policies and in aiming to flatten the curve of the pandemic by implementing the social distancing policies and even the lockdown policies. So actually, we have a consequence. Many economic sectors are affected tremendously by these policies, which lead to the economic recession, which indicates the fall of economic growth, which is facing by several countries in these 2 consecutive quarters. So let's begin, I think, from Dr. Omar Hafiz. So Dr. Omar Hafiz will share with us regarding I think the pandemic situation, Doctor, in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So you can share with us your experience, how the government tackle or handling the pandemic in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and what the preventive action that the government do in Saudi Arabia. But inshallah, Dr. Umar also have important points to share with us regarding the role of the Islamic social finance during the pandemic. So, inshallah, dear brother and sister, we will hear with this, his presentation regarding the role of the Islamic social finance during the pandemic.
Okay, thank you, brother
Without further ado,
Aziz.
Dr. Omar, please, the time is yours, Dr. Omar. I will share the slide.
Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am very grateful to Zakat Forum International for inviting me to this webinar. I am so sorry, Brother Abdul Jalil, because you asked me to say something about the experience of Saudi Arabia regarding the issue of the webinar. I am so sorry I was not told to for this specific speech, because I prepared some general ideas about the Islamic social finance and what is the role of that. I will be honored to speak about my country, Saudi Arabia, if I am told to prepare something about that. But unfortunately, I prepared something very general. So forgive me for this. I did not know that you are looking to know something for the audience about our case in Saudi Arabia. So allow me to go through what I prepared only. If you prepare something next time, I will be honored to speak about my country, Saudi Arabia, about how we faced the pandemic of coronavirus with a lot of policies and arrangements, which we are very proud of that. Now, I think now those who are attending, I will be very thankful to them also. I would like to say that the field of social economies is becoming very important to economic development around the world. In Muslim countries, Zakat is supposed to play a vital role in social development. Unfortunately, there is a need to reform and develop this Islamic institution to fulfill the increasing demand for existing societies. Fortunately, the Islamic social finance terminology is becoming in studies and research as the world is becoming more interested in the United Nations SDGs, as it became a must for all countries who signed on the announcement of the United Nations in 2015. The first four goals of the SDGs are related to hunger, poverty, health, and education, and it became a focus in all countries, alhamdulillah. Islamic social instruments can play a big role, especially in the time of crises like recessions or depressions or even pandemics. This presentation is not a scientific research, but rather to shed some light on related issues and raise questions for all of us to think deeply about. This presentation is a personal one. It does not reflect the International Association for Islamic Economics views. Please allow me to raise a question about what is Islamic social finance. You can see this picture that social development fund are pushing down against economic development fund, while the economic development fund are pushing up against social development. now this represent the need for a balance of economic development and social development. I believe Islamic social finance is investment in enterprises who are considered as social enterprises. I hope the slides are open for the attendees people to see. Because without seeing the pictures of the slides, they will not understand what I am talking about. Mr. Abdul Aziz?
Yes. All right.
Please let somebody put the slides on the screen, please.
Oh yeah, all right, hold on, doctor.
Okay, as you see now, these arrows, social development try to push down, and economic development try to push up. So there should be a balance. Islamic social finance is investments into enterprises who are considered as social enterprises. Social finance is not a grant or donation. It is repayable utilizing compliant Islamic finance products. This investment and funding stimulate positive social returns for investors and the larger society. Now, how do we make a balance? Who are social enterprises that finance will be giving them money? I can here mention some of the social enterprises: charities, cooperatives, non-profits, microfinance, socially responsible and sustainable businesses, social impact sukuk, social enterprise, interest-free lending. How do we make a balance between achieving social development goals and economic development goals? This is designed by a state vision as well as by a city society vision. Now, I am looking differently to finance and funding, because some people are using the term Islamic social finance to mean everything, but I divide it into what I can call it Islamic social finance and what I can call it Islamic social funding. I am looking differently to those two terms. Finance is a commercial term, and Islamic social finance is not a grant. It is to invest taking account of economic returns as well as social returns, which are measurable nowadays. Funding is not refundable and takes the shapes of state funding and civil society funding. So I'm looking to Islamic social finance from the side of the state social finance and civil social finance. As for social funding, there are also state social funding and civil social funding. What is the state Islamic social funding? Zakat, I look at it as a state, because in Islam, as you know, the state will collect and distribute zakat. It can be delegated to some civil, but mainly it is the responsibility of the state to collect and distribute zakat. Also, state awqaf. Some countries used to make awqaf for some reasons and some needs. Also, we have state sadaqat. So I can see three kinds of state Islamic social funding. Zakah is a pillar of Islam, and it is the state role to collect as per Sharia rules and transfer in cash or in kind to poor people and others defined in Sharia. As for state awqaf or waqf, the state may make waqf for certain purposes appear important to its financial policies. Also, state sadaqat, a state from time to time makes grants and donations for certain purposes. Now let us go for the civil society Islamic social funding. That was also funding the part of the state. I also have three kinds. We have civil awqaf and awqaf under the civil society management, which we call nazara, and we have civil sadaqat, a lot of charitable funds undefined according to needs and judgment of the civil society. Zakat plus, I am calling something Zakat plus. This extra Zakat is needed sometime, but not compulsory. People may pay Zakat not to the government only, but also they do for their own ajr and thawab. Yeah. We have some noises coming, Brother Abdul Aziz. Now, what is Islamic economics recession? What is economic recession? After we have this general picture about social Islamic social finance and funding, what is the economic recession? A recession is a business cycle contraction when there is a general decline in economic activity. Recessions generally occur when there is a widespread drop in spending. The case of coronavirus pandemic. What is the role of Islamic social finance and funding? I can put this for you that spending down will cause a price down. Price down will cause unemployment down. What are the reasons for spending to go down? What forces push prices to go down? And what are the reasons for employment going down? What is behind spending down? What we noticed now in this the pandemic issue of the COVID-19, that there was shortage in income, fear to spend, political instability, and tend to save. What can Islamic social finance and funding do? I'm putting some examples. I am not making a research, scientific research here, but I am doing some observation. What the Islamic finance rule? Create Qard Hasan scheme, postpone or decrease amount of dues. What can Islamic funding rule? Islamic funding rule can distribute Zakat in advance and IAIE funds of Zakat. There is a lot of IAIE funds are there, has not been distributed. So now they should distribute whatever is idle in their banking account. Distribute Zakat plus from the civil society. Distribute food and clothes. This is just an example of how we can have a role of Islamic finance and funding. What force prices to go down? What can Islamic social finance and funding do? I'm leaving this empty because this issue of pricing is a very complicated one and we need everyone to think with us. I don't like to put some headlines for that. Lastly, what can Islamic social finance and funding do to solve the employment going down? Islamic finance role can create Qard Hasan scheme, can make more allocations for SMEs and microfinance. Islamic funding role can create unemployment supporting fund, can reduce taxes and government fees distribute, can distribute Zakat in advance and its IAIE funds, can distribute zakat plus can distribute food and clothes. What is the conclusion? I don't like to take much of your good time, but the role of Islamic social finance in the time of recession needs to be deeply studied in each country. It is mixed of social as well as economic and political factors that has to be considered. Islamic social finance and funding in history and now can play a very effective role. The role is not the responsibility of the state only, but civil society should play its role also. How to make the balance and the mixture of fiscal and monetary policies is an issue affected by a lot of local as well as international factors. Brother Abdul Aziz, hello?
Yes, yes.
وأتوب إليك. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you once again, Dr. Umar. Sorry for inconvenient things that come arise because unstable connection in my connection. So I would like to say sorry again to Dr. Umar. Thank you for your valuable discussions and very interesting topic to be shared in your presentation. So let's move to the second speakers, Dr. Dadang Muljawan. Yeah, we are, as we see from the presentations of the from Dr. Umar, we got several important issues to be discussed. Yeah, but before we discuss further regarding the role of the Islamic social finance, maybe as your experience in regulatory sectors and how you can share with us the situation of the pandemic impact to our Indonesian economy. So I got the information that in the second quarter we got contracted the economic growth in falls minus 5%. So how about your opinion in this regard, Dr. Dadang Muljawan? The time is yours, Doctor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
First, I think, yes, we are encountering a very devastating moment, which, struck every country in the globe. But inshallah, we have to, be optimistic because, there's always, ways to improve things. I will not comment about the prospect of the economy because it really depends on we are preparing right now. So first, what we are trying to understand what is happening and what is best to do to improve the Islamic social finance to prepare further cushion, economic cushion, not only now but better in the future. Let me talk about the general framework in economy that if a country wants to be strong in economic terms, they have to have 6 pillars. to be strengthened. First, the structure of the industry. It has to be strong. Everyone in this country should have equal opportunity to produce, starting from a very advanced manufacturing system, and then to a very small, medium, micro enterprise. So they have to be, very active in producing things, product and services. Secondly, disparity. We have to bring the narrowing the gaps between the have and the not have, to make everyone in terms of production and also consumption. Because there is always a part of society that are unfortunate. They have some problems in producing things. They have failed in some attempts. They have also a right to improve themselves. And then when we talk about the efficient frontiers, of course, the economy in general is expressed by the efficient frontiers, assuming that everyone is in the line of efficiency. But in fact, a subset, some numbers of people lies in the suboptimum area. So the question is, who will take care of them? Fiscal, of course, there's also some limitation. And then investment, FDI, or fund from outside. If the economy is not sustainable, of course, it will give more burden in the future because of the capital repatriation outside, capital reversal. The third pillar is efficiency. So a country has to be efficient even if there is some pressure outside or from inside. So by having a very efficient industry, then we are expecting that the industrial sectors will be easier to recover whenever there is a struck of an economy in terms of supplies and etc. The fourth is the quality of human resource. Human resource in all sectors, including Islamic social finance, is very critical. Right now, we can see, and alhamdulillah, if I can share with you, Dr. Umar, quality people in Zakat sectors now is becoming, in Indonesia, if we can share with you, it's becoming much stronger than before, because we can see even graduate master degree from even PhD from overseas. It's become, a part of these initiatives. And then the fifth, investment. When we talk about investment, people will think only about profitable investment. But in fact, investment can also be some area which is not too profitable. Like, for example, in Indonesia, correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Abdul Aziz, that at least we have more than 25 hospital for duafa. So if we talk about profitability, of course, the main objective of this hospital is not generating profit. But of course, they can make profit. But the main objective is to sustain the productivity of people that have, let's say, deprived because of a certain situation. And then the last, it's only one part in the sixth pillar, is macro regulatory framework that involve the central banks and then the FSA, Islamic Social Finance Authority, Ministry of Finance. They have to come together, try to blend, and how to build the synergy among these institutions. So this six pillar has to come together as a rukun. So when we understand this framework, of course, when we talk about how the zakat and akaf system can contribute during the crisis, of course, the crisis and whatever the downturn and the upturn economy, we are talking about the cycle. And then when we talk about the Islamic social finance, Islamic social finance serve as the cushion that will redirect the factors when it comes to the nose down. It helped, the society and the government to redirect the factor upturn. So again, and when we talk about Islamic social finance, it relates to the six pillars of it. When we talk about zakat, for example, and wakaf, I can still remember one of the project done by BAZNAS in Bengkulu. They make a micro hydro electrical generating plant. They can produce, electricity for more than one village. And now, the news that I've heard, this village has become exemplary because of the rate of growth is so high. Because why? The cost of the electricity is so low. While we can understand the electricity is one part of component for sustaining the productivity. So when we talk about Islamic social finance, we are not talking about only a bunch of people that's begging across in the road. We are not talking about that. We are talking about improving the competitive edge of a nation. This is very important. And then when we talk about the recession, it is just a small period during the cycle of the economy. So again, I just want to complete what Dr. Umar has presented in a broader terms, and in the strategic terms. It is to invite everyone who is seeing my presentation. Look, wakaf zakat is not as simple as giving money for entering paradise. Of course, we are trying to enter paradise, but of course, it is not a collateral benefit. It is I should say, we can see, the benefit in the dunya and hereafter at the same time, and we can also, show scientifically that look, if we are, sharing our prosperity with others, of course, we are broadening the consumption base. We are broadening the present base, and then this is one of the things that to underline the importance of having these sectors. That's why from the first time, I did not agree to say that Islamic social finance is a voluntary sector. It is not. It is a formal sector. But the formal sectors that can benefit the economy, even if these sectors has to lose everything to help the people, it will not create the chaos. It is totally different, like for example, in the banking system. Banking system, the net worth of the bank has to be sustained by instrument. But for this wakaf and zakat, it can help people to the last drops of the money it has. So this is what makes the sector so special. And then in order for us to be able to sustain ourselves in encountering any potential downturn in the economy, whatever it is, what caused it, and then we have to think about the supporting infrastructure, information system, international standard, and then the governance. Why? It's very important because we are about building the credential and confidence level in the society. People have to trust us. that whatever drops the money they pay to us, of course, they will have a confidence that every penny, every real, every rupiah they drop into our pocket will bring them into paradise. Why? Because they can see what is impacting. Like right now, well, I'm a small zakat payer, for example, but I, always open the report from certain, report by zakat organizer and then also akaf. I will feel relief to see that hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of duafa is going to school right now. Some of duafa that has health problem now has been cured and they can stand on its own. It is very relieving. And then the last part of my presentation, how are we going to build? Because it is just mirroring to the national level. I'm thinking of, pushing very hard for element to bring the quality of the operation. First, regulatory framework. It has to be recognized by the government. It has to be effectively implemented and supervision, human resource. And thanks to BAZNAS, I think this program is also, our effort to broaden the vision by many Zakat people and also Awqaf to see, look, what they are doing is not just simple as collecting money. They are also contributing to the national economic development. And then the last thing, education. So please, Dr. Umar, in the future, collaborate with us always to educate people. It's not only what is on the surface, but how we can professionally manage the fund. So again, economy is about the allocation of resources, and then the professional people who take care about zakat and awqaf should be able to also allocate the fund to the eigen value of the system, meaning that the most leveraging part that we can see the impact to the society. So what has been done in the last 2 minutes, things that has been, if I can share with you, Dr. Umar, I will tell about BAZNAS and Awqaf in Indonesia. During the pandemic, Alhamdulillah, we can see smart people in BAZNAS. Like you can say in your presentation, there will be, a slope down of consumption and production because some of Dexter has to shut down. But by using zakat fund, they utilize this fund to give extra employment to the unemployed people because of the layoff. They will do the job to spread disinfectant, to improve the quality of health. So see, there is a shift, but the shifting cost is sustained by zakat.
Yes.
This is a very, very fundamental and a very smart strategic part that has been done by BAZNAS. And then secondly, in the area of Awqaf, I can also see Badan Wakaf Indonesia has been able to combine three sectors very effectively: fiscal sectors, commercial, and Islamic social finance by the issue of cash wakaf link sukuk that has been used to provide medical appliances to rectify the retina condition of duafa. So we can see we are building from the grassroots the quality of the people. It's very sad to see poor people they cannot afford for themselves because they cannot see it. Now we are bringing appliances that can rectify them to make them productive. So I just want to share this with you from the conceptual until what you are doing now is on the right track. What we need to do right now is to spread out this information and to bring intelligent people to think strategically and to act effectively. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Dadang, for your enlightenment regarding the how the Islamic social finance contributing to relieve the economic recession, the economic downturn, with several programs in Zakat institution as well as in Wakaf institution. And I got some question actually, Dr. Umar, for you from the WhatsApp. So, Dr. Umar, as we know that the Zakat management in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is embedded with the government institutions. So, and how the government utilize the Zakat and Awqaf fund to tackle the impact of the pandemic in Saudi Arabia. Maybe some people lost their job. Maybe some people cannot work anymore. Maybe some people suffer with the impact of pandemic. What the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia use by utilizing Zakat and Awqaf fund to relieve the situation, Dr. Umar?
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Abdul Aziz, and also I thank Dr. Dadang for his great presentation. I am very confident that the experience of Indonesia in Zakat and Waqf is a very useful, and we can take a lot of lessons from this experience. I hope, inshallah, in the future we share information so we can, inshallah, do our research about this. As for my country, Saudi Arabia, the collection of Zakat, which is compulsory on Saudi companies and businessmen, they are taking and collect this for the social security beneficiaries. Now, in this is a normal practice. It is not just for the pandemic, but it is normally. And for the personal zakat, it is left for each person to take out his zakat for those needs according to his judgment. But in this, the recession and the pandemic, a lot of funds has been allocated from the government to those needy people. And there is a lot also of arrangements, alhamdulillah, has been very effective in making the pandemic impact very little for them. So I am really not prepared to mention all programs are there, but I am very sure that you can understand that the government of Saudi Arabia did a great job in this pandemic time. And alhamdulillah, we are going back to normal life with a very cautious also policies. We are confident, inshallah, that we will be in a very good shape, maybe very soon, inshallah. I mean, as the whole world is coming, inshallah, for normal life.
Inshallah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, inshallah. Thank you, Dr. Umar.
But I want to make a comment, Brother Abdul Aziz, on Dr. Dadang saying about I meant it to differentiate between finance and non-finance, because finance terminology, is a commercial term. So when I don't look to Zakat and Awqaf as a finance. I look at them indifferently, that I can call them funding or some other word we can select. But I should not give the impression that this is a finance from our point of view, because it is not refundable. Now, Islamic banks and finance around the world are demanded to do much for the society, much for the development. They are thinking very commercially. What we call for them that they should look to finance investment in social enterprises. They should take care of their profit, but they should not do all their finance into social enterprises. But social enterprise need their finance, and they should look at the two dimensions of profit dimension and also social dimension. Now, profit or return as well calculated, but also the social impact is now measurable, and we can make a lot of competition between Islamic finance, who is the best who financing the social enterprises. I believe there is a lot from the requested from Islamic banks around the world to allocate some funds for social enterprise finance. They get profit, but they should also look at the social return in the same time. This is my comment on what you said, Dr. Dadang, that about finance and non-finance. If we isolate the finance section socially in the social society from Zakat and Awqaf, we will get more input from Islamic. I don't know, what do you think, Dr. Dadang, about this? Because a lot of our researchers are mixing these issues.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Umar, for your great answers, and also actually at the same time, this question for you, Dr. Dadang, regarding the terminology of the finance in the Zakat and Awqaf. Yeah, I think that's the question also for Dr. Dadang. But that the first and the second question is from our audience that. Yes, the Zakat and Awqaf have great potential to improve our national economy at in national level, but as we know that the Zakat and Awqaf in Indonesia is collected relatively low. So only I got the report only 4% from its potential. So what can our government do in this situation, and what is it possible to make Zakat and Waqaf, particularly for Zakat? Is it possible for Zakat to make it mandatory instead of voluntary? Because we see in the national Zakat law in Indonesia, Zakat is still in voluntary involuntary base. So what's your comment about this? And then you can answer also the questions from Dr. Umar. Thank you, Dr. Dadang.
Thank you. I think I will take the first question from Dr. Umar as privilege because you're my senior, of course.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just simplify things. Well, you may be right about the terminology finance. Finance is, I think we need to go to the dictionary that, it's in terms of monetization of the assets that can, be used to accelerate the activities. And then why I take the terms of finance, because simply try to take the broad spectrum between very highly profitable to a very lowly profitable, and even the profitably maybe is minus in terms of helping out the green duafa. Green duafa means like very old people that they cannot afford for themselves, so we cannot expect any return from them. But of course, whether or not it is correct to name it finance, consumption finance, with the return of negative 100%. So it is of course, it's interesting to think about. Maybe in the future we can get some terms that will reduce the bias between what is meant by giving the finance, because we are expecting the return whether this is a financial return or social return. So how to combine it together. And then what is the most important thing is for the authority to assess the performance of the sectors. How do we need to combine into one single number, or we need to also make kind of combination between, of course, dunya wal akhirat. Something
Yes, yes.
for the input anyway. Secondly, zakat and awqaf. This is my personal opinion, and also because I'm not a part of the authority of zakat, so I cannot, make any stand whether it has to be compulsory and or voluntary. So what it matters right now for me is first how to bring up the quality of the operation until everybody can agree that, look, these instruments is very, very important and having a very high impact to help out the government. So the data will speak by itself. The government, look, this is what the zakat sector do. And then secondly, again, when we talk about the performance, and then we have to also think about the demographic profile of certain countries, like in Indonesia. What area, that have, the most significant impact. And then for us, again, for BAZNAS, in collaboration with the central bank, to look at a very significant sector for them to develop. For example, agriculture. Have you heard about one of the pesantren? Pesantren, do you know pesantren, Dr. Umar? Is the Islamic pesantren, Islamic boarding house. Islamic,
MashaAllah. No, I'm not aware of that.
Islamic boarding house. I will take one example, let's say, but this is a true example. One Islamic boarding house, southern part of the my hometown, Pesantren X. Previously, yes, they are a ordinary pesantren. Now, with the Awqaf fund, now they have been able to even do exporting for their development.
MashaAllah.
What we need to do is to compile this success story and then to show to everybody, like, look, social investors, if you do this thing, you are contributing to a large extent, particularly in improving the Gini index. We have done, very simple tests in the central bank, interesting. We can see from the econometric analysis, particularly in certain sector, that zakat disbursement is giving positive impact to bring down the Gini ratio. Again, this is not Dadang who's telling somebody in the government, but this is the data. So when data talks, then everybody will start to believe. And this kind of information, we need to write up very neatly, very interestingly to the investor of Islamic social fund of finance. So again, by this elegant way, we can bring, confident over confident. We have to be patient and also smart. I mean that don't push too hard. But if we are, can work diligently and effectively, smartly, I'm more than, confident to see the sector developing, in a very stable pace, rather than forcing people. But if, we can show the professionalisms, we can see graduated like yourself, Brother Abdul Aziz, why you choose joining BAZNAS? It is not 20 years ago, it was 10 years ago. what do you look for? But now, you can there. Helping people is something else, but having a decent life is also something else, something significant to achieve. I think that is my answer. I cannot, make a direct answer, but I just want to, show about the comprehensive approach, how to, take an action to one issue. Thank you.
Yeah,
I don't know what time
thank
is left. If you like me to just make a very short answer to the question raised by Abdul Aziz about
Yes,
the
all right.
compulsory and voluntarily. In brief,
Yes.
now in our Islamic history, both options are there. The compulsory as well as the voluntarily are there. It depends on the judgment of the state to leave it for people, or they should have it and distribute. My understanding that in the existing time of Muslims and of the world at all, now it is preferable, in my opinion, that the state take care of zakah. And it should be compulsory as well as the taxes are compulsory on people. Because this will save a lot of the budget of the government they are putting in the social objectives or social goals. I believe if it is collected by the government, by the state, and distributed to the right people, the poverty issue and hunger issue will not be there at all. Because all of us know that zakah is a pillar of Islam. And this means that it should make a very good society in this regard by collecting zakah from the state and distributing it. Zakah has a lot of details and it should be studied in details. It is not a very general concept. No, it goes to each kind of wealth of the nation and make a roadmap for that. I believe we should give this responsibility to the state in all Muslim countries in a good way to save the societies from what is going on now. This is my personal opinion, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Umar, for your great. Yes, it's okay, Dr. Umar. Thank you so much for your opinion. Yeah, because I think Indonesia and also Saudi Arabia implement different way in zakat management. While in Indonesia, zakat management they are managing by the private institutions and also the government institution. While in Saudi Arabia, it should managed by the government, right, Dr. Umar? So it is a challenge also for us in Indonesia. But I also agree with Dr. Dadang that the zakat institution should improve their management to get the trust broadly from the public. So when the public become trust more and more to the Islamic social finance institution, to the zakat institution, to wakaf institution, then I think the government also will implement the compulsory for zakat, notably. Okay, right, Dr. Umar and Dr. Dadang. I think we reached the limit of the time to the discussions of World Zakat Forum webinar series. So is there any last comment from Dr. Dadang Muljawan and Dr. Umar regarding the, I think, the message for the Islamic social finance practices such as us in Indonesia or around the world in Zakat institution and Awqaf institution? Please, maybe Dr. Umar and Dr. Dadang.
Thank you. I would like to remind you and whoever is hearing that zakah is combined with salah in all verses of Quran Kareem. So if you feel it compulsory for you to pray, you should feel it compulsory to you to pay zakah. This is my last saying.
The difference is only pay.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very smart.
Yeah, very brief and very clear.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Any last comment from Dr. Dadang, please?
Okay, I think my last comment is be proud of yourself, particularly for the one who are with the Zakat and Al-Kaf institution. And then because your pride is because you are investing dunya and akhirat. Be proud and be smart.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you once again. Very clear.
Thank you, Abdul Aziz.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dadang, very much. I'm very happy to have this. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Umar and Dr. Dadang, for your valuable explanation, from valuable discussion today. So now we reach the end, and on behalf of the World Zakat Forum, or WZF, we would like to say thank you once again to Dr. Umar, and also thank you for Dr. Dadang
Thank you
also
very much.
for willingness to join with us the webinar. And thank you again for all of participants for joining our webinar. We hope to see you again in the upcoming WZF International webinar, inshallah. That's all for me.
Ya Allah.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
I will come
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
and go to Jeddah.